Hello and welcome to July's Investor Update here at Nutmeg. My name's Neil Alexander, I'm the Chief Financial and Operating Officer, and I'm joined by Shaun Port, our Chief Investment Officer, as we continue to democratise wealth management and empower generations of investors. Hi Shaun.
Hi Neil.
We definitely saw some volatility across the financial markets in June. Can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on?
Yes, that's right, Neil. So June was quite a volatile month. In the first few weeks of the month, we saw some quite good returns, a good rebound in global stock markets. But the second half of the month, all these tensions around global trade, particularly between the US and China, normally surrounding Trump's tweets, that was really driving the market. There was a lot of news going on around that, but really that was the main force. So we saw prices over most developed markets gain or lose around 1%, so not too much in the way of movement. But when you look at emerging markets, we saw stock prices in US dollars fall by about 4%. And if you look at China, over the course of 11 days, the stock market there fell by over 10%. And since the end of January, the stock market in China is down by 20%. So some really big moves in China. Now, the Chinese market is typically volatile, but obviously this is quite a big fall in stock prices, which affected sentiment across the region.
And against this backdrop, how have Nutmeg's fully managed portfolios performed?
Not surprisingly, we saw returns that were quite positive in the early part of the month, but then we saw losses. So overall, for the whole month of June, portfolios were either unchanged or down by 1 or 2 tenths. So very small movement over the course of the month. All equity markets were down apart from the US, so clearly that was quite a big drag on our portfolios, but the main drag was really coming from emerging market stocks.
And so with this in mind, have you made any changes to the fully managed portfolios?
We've made some small changes. So we've lowered our confidence in the ability of Prime Minister Abe in Japan to deliver more economic reforms. So we've lowered our exposure to Japan, even though it's quite an attractive valuation there. And we've put the money into some more exposure into US tech stocks and some more exposure to emerging market Asia, despite our concerns around trade. And that's because we still think the outlook for emerging market stocks is really quite positive. Valuations are around a quarter lower than developed markets. Economic momentum is really starting to pick up again, and the currencies themselves look quite cheap. So despite rising interest rates in the US and trade tensions, we still think the outlook for emerging market stocks is pretty good.
Great, thanks Shaun. That's fascinating as always. And as usual, we've got a question from one of our customers. This month our question comes via Twitter, and the question is, what happens to the dividends that are paid out on Nutmeg investments? Do they get automatically reinvested?
Yes, a good question. So within pretty much all of the investments we have, they generate income. So whether it's bonds or stock market dividends, these instruments do produce income. Now that income is generated within the ETF that holds those investments, and often they're paid out. So when they're paid out, we invest those back into the portfolios. We don't charge our customers any extra fees for doing that, but we automatically put those dividends back to work to earn growth and also to earn further income.
That's great news. Thanks very much, Shaun.
Thank you, Neil.
And thanks to all of you for joining us again this month. As usual, if you've got any questions for us, please feel free to contact us via email, the social channel, or in the comments section below. And we look forward to updating you again next month. Thanks very much.